Well, just how does a strategic therapist tailor their approach to the unique presentations that couples and families are going to have?
A lot of it comes down to almost mundane style of interviewing, more like a journalist, more like Columbo than Freud, where you doggedly try to pursue the details of people's lives, who does what, where, when, how is a problem, why is it a problem, what would people like to see differently. And it's in the context of that understanding that you begin to pinpoint the areas of difficulty. The goal in an interview in strategic therapy is to be able to visualize some sequences, to have a sense of that you could reconstruct a videotape of problematic situations. And it's at that level of detail you look for small ways, and small but strategic ways, in which things could be different.
As we watch this, are there particular things our viewers should be looking for?
Look to see how I try to get away from the abstract sense of I don't like the way my partner interacts with me, to specific, where I try to pin down people to specific sequences, and try to suggest that therapy is going to involve potentially temporarily exacerbating the pattern as a way of looking at it. And I try to strike a balance. So something is asked of both partners, and neither partner is asked, each is asked to compromise, but not to be compromised. Real respect for people's point of view, and that there's not a loss of dignity in the process. So compromise is important, but for people to feel compromised is to be avoided. So I really want to strike a balance in what I'm asking. And I want to make sure that people are ready for it. I make it very explicit queries to them. Do you really want to do this? Is this okay? There's a lot of permission seeking. The paradox is that strategic therapy is supposed to be so directive, but they spend an awful lot of time asking, is it okay? Should we proceed? Do you really want to do this? This is odd, but would you think would be acceptable?
Well, what about when you send one of them out of the room? Or you start out with just the one. How do you decide which one you start with, or do they do that?
I usually leave it up to them unless I have a strong hunch ahead of time. And what typically happens is what you'll see is one will decide, go ahead, you go first. And unless there's a protest, I let people do that. Okay. I try not to make a big deal of it, knowing that I'm going to be able to speak to both sides.
Good. Well, thank you. Let's watch this interesting interview.
Okay.